Whatever time that you allow a particular thing, it will expand into that time frame. Hey, what's going on, guys? Jeff Koga here, and it is April 7th.
Elaine Koga here.
That's my wife. All right, so I want to talk about, as I'm going into the office, the one thing that I need to accomplish today is the thing that I've been procrastinating on is probably one of the most important things that needs to be done. And I don't know if this has ever happened in your life, or maybe it's going on in your life where that one thing that you know you gotta get done, but for whatever reason, it's not getting done. And for whatever reason, it's taking maybe a tad bit longer than it's supposed to. Maybe you went a little bit above and beyond, and just instead of thinking about it and say, hey, I'm gonna do it, maybe you put it on your to-do list. I'm gonna get it done today. I wanna get it done today. And maybe you started a little bit, but you didn't quite finish. And then the next day, you put it on your to-do list again, and you go at it again, and maybe you get a little bit done, but then you didn't finish. And then maybe the day after that, you put it on your to-do list, but life gets in the way, and the busy stuff of life, business, comes into play, and you just didn't finish. That has happened to me all the time. But there's one thing that I got to accomplish is I have to finish the training course for my students and clients, and my CFO has been on my butt to complete this because some other parts of the business has been held back on it. So, and the goal was to get this done on March 20th, and clearly, it being April 7th, I am about 2 weeks behind, more than 2 weeks actually behind. So got to get it done. So the goal is to finish that and complete that, take it to completion. And you're probably wondering, what is that one thing and why, even though I kind of explained that one thing, what that is, you're probably wondering how come. Now, the number one reason is because there is a tech component to it that comes into place where I have never done before, or I have never did it, and because of that, it's a mental block, and I'm thinking in my mind that it's going to take a lot longer than it is going to take. So that's the reason why. And there is a theory called the Parkinson theory, and it states that whatever time that you allow a particular thing, it will expand into that time frame. So in other ways to look at it is, maybe in school, in your childhood, or maybe in your college days, or maybe in your adult life, was there a time where you had a deadline, right? And this deadline in the beginning, you were saying to yourself maybe like, oh my gosh, you know what? I don't know how I'm gonna get this done. But because of that deadline approaches, and maybe you stayed up all night the night before because you're procrastinating, maybe like me, or maybe you did a little bit of chunk and you finished it, and that deadline comes and you're just like, man, I can't believe I got this done that fast. And oh my gosh, it came out pretty darn good, right? So the Parkinson theory basically comes and says that, hey, whatever allowment of time you allow for a particular thing, then it's going to expand into it. So it's a constant battle when you have it, like a time deadline, is to continuously, you got to put yourself in a state, I'm a believer on this, of borderline stress. And when you do that, it gets done, or for me it does. So this particular one that I've had, this goal, I did not put myself in that state, this frantic state of like borderline like panic state. And because of that, I know for a fact that it took almost 2 weeks to get done, because I want to get it done today. So the message I got for you guys today is test the boundaries, right? You'll be surprised on the amount of crap that your body and your mental brain can take. So try it if you have a task or things that you're procrastinating on, but you know it's important. Maybe that follow-up call that you needed to do, where you got to pick up the phone and call that person, but that person wasn't that too friendly the first time you talked to them. Maybe it's that sales copy you got to write. Maybe it's that training you got to do with your team. Whatever it is, that makes you uncomfortable. Put a deadline on it. And not only with that deadline, put that deadline so that it puts you in a frantic state where you're just like, oh my gosh, and you wake up in the morning, you're just like, I got to get this done. And if you do that for a course of multiple times, guarantee you're going to get so much stuff done. And unfortunately on this thing, it's really important because it's going to transform our information publishing business for the sake of KPIs and tracking, and to be able to bring on other affiliates. Because as currently it stands, how we have it structured, our CFO and our financial team has to go into multiple different merchant accounts currently right now to cross-check different stuff versus going in a central location and check. And not only that, but the tool that we currently use doesn't have too much of a robust notification and follow-up system, so we have to kind of duct tape and bubble gum the solution, and that's where the problem is. And not to say that the software or whatever that we use is bad, it's more of, like in most software business or software, right? You get to a point where you start outgrowing the actual software, and that's kind of where we got to. So we have to change, and I have to use a software that I've actually been paying for a long time, but I haven't been using it to full capacity, and we're consolidating everything into one hub. So it all has to do with the merchant account. It's crazy on the merchant side because previously I've been using a lot of just Stripe, which is really easy to use, easy to set up. It was a pain in the you-know-what to get a merchant account. Literally, they have to run credit check. You have to actually put in a reserve, like literally money out of your pocket, and you have to give it to them so they can hold on to it just in case for chargebacks. And then they required a minimum amount of reserves in your bank account, and they looked at your average rolling balance on your bank statement to making sure that you're over that threshold, meaning that you didn't just get a lump sum of cash from somewhere else and then you just placed it in there and says, hey, by the way, I got money in the bank, give me a damn merchant account. No, they require you to literally pool last 12 months, and they will look at all the averages, and they'll take the blended average of all the statements, and that was the actual way that they did it. And it was really difficult to even connect a checkout page. But now, as technology has evolved, fast forward almost 10 years now, a decade, can you believe that? You can go out and get a merchant account to sell whatever you want, right? You can sell it on a little phone with a little thing called Square to swipe. You can go to Stripe and get a merchant account and a checkout page, so you can get paid by selling digital products online. It wasn't like that, right? And to a point where you needed to have an entity at that time, okay, a business entity. You just couldn't get one just because you had a personal name. So the business has changed, but also at the same time, the tracking has gotten easier, but we're still in kind of the Flintstone era of tracking. So we got to change that up. So that's what I got for you as I'm pulling almost to the exit to the office. Anything you want to add?
Get out there, take massive action.